Welcome to Love You Bro podcast, where I am your host, Jude, and today we have some special guests. We are hosting our show at Park Hill South High School, and we've got some special guests to bring on today. We're going to bring on Miss Addison Bjorn from Park Hill South High School. How are you, Addison?
Doing good.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then we've got the twin brother, Carson. Carson, thanks for coming on for a few minutes.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you guys coming on the show. Guys, we started our podcast here about 18 months ago. This is our 59th episode, and we really, just a couple of guys, my brother's not here today, but a couple of guys really just love Kansas City sports. We do stuff on the professional level, college level, but we also love to do and bring out the stuff that goes on at the high school level. And watching what you've done the last few years, watching what you've done, lately, and what's going on this season, we wanted to bring you on the show. And nothing better than having your twin and your family member on here.
Definitely.
So Carson, if we had to get any type of dirt on Addison, would you be the one we'd go to? Not that we need any, but if we were going to get some, would it be from you?
If it would be from anyone, yeah, it would probably be from me. But I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Absolutely. This show is all about, like I said, really talking about where you're at right now in your senior year. I know you guys are 17 and 6 right now. Let's talk a little bit about when you first started. When did everything kind of start clicking for you? When you kind of knew there was something special kind of on the horizon?
I would say probably when I switched over from boys basketball to girls basketball. I used to play with my twin brother, obviously, and have my dad coach. And I feel like what made the transition so easy was just like the physicality aspect, and just playing with boys is different. And I feel like that put me a step ahead.
How many years did you play with the boys?
Like four. Four.
So
yeah.
When did you make the transition? When did you switch to?
Around like 5th grade is kind of when it happened, just because at that point boys started to get a little bit more stronger,
right.
And I thought it would maybe be like a safety thing, but honestly, just you didn't see it as commonly whenever we were younger.
Right. Carson, when did you kind of see? Obviously, when you guys were playing, your dad was coaching. When did you kind of? I mean, when you were younger, did you just notice like, hey, my sister's got something special going on here?
Yeah, so I would say I was like fairly good for my age, and she would always like challenge me.
Right.
So I kind of realized that like, okay, she's pretty good.
Right.
But I would say when I realized like she was actually special would be like that 4th grade year, whenever she was playing on our team and parents stopped complaining about her playing time. Like, hey, she should actually be on the court.
Right.
Which, like, she's the only one that I know that, like, played at a high level against the boys all the way up to, like, 4th and 5th grade. So, yeah, that's probably when I realized that.
So when did your growth spurt, Addison? When did you kind of start, getting some size to you a little bit? When did that kind of happen?
I feel like I've always been tall my whole life.
Okay.
But I feel like, honestly, even in elementary school, I was always a head taller than even some of the boys.
Right.
So I would honestly say that my growth spurt was probably freshman year.
Okay.
I grew a few inches, and I've stayed pretty consistent now on my height.
Right.
I haven't really grown much.
Right.
But I feel like girls are faster, like younger.
Of course.
They grow more.
Of course. So when you were younger, with other sports, did you play anything else besides basketball? What else did you play when you were younger?
I did about everything. So I played flag football with Carson. I did t-ball, obviously baseball, but I played softball at a pretty high level. I also played soccer up until my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
I decided not to actually go out and play high school soccer because of knee injuries and stuff.
Right.
I was kind of having some of that, but I literally went to tryouts, so I was on the line of actually playing. And I golf in my free time. So
You golf in your
Not
free
bad.
time?
She's not bad.
She's not
Yeah.
bad?
Yeah.
Can you swing a little bit?
I can.
Okay. Carson, how about you? How are you on the golf course?
I would say I'm probably the best in my family right now.
Okay.
My dad will
I'll give
probably
it to
see
him.
this, and it'll be like sad for him to realize that I'm the best. But he had his run there. I would say whenever I can get out on the course, I'm probably like a mid-80s. But
Okay.
she can play some golf.
I love that though. So you guys come from an athletic family, yes?
Yeah. My older brother actually, Jack, he's 22 and he plays football at Iowa State. So
Okay.
he also can swing it. I feel like they're
He
more,
might be the best
Yeah.
golfer.
You might be the best golfer. I love it. So a lot of competition in the family from just a young age of growing up. Just a lot of competition in the family. And now, are
Yeah.
you the only girl, Addison?
I am.
Okay, so that's kind of good having the older siblings. And I mean, I know you're a twin, but I mean, having an older sibling and playing with against the boys.
Yeah, no, I like it. I would not be the athlete I am today without my two brothers. I feel like Carson pushed me into that comfort zone, like uncomfortable zone, but then Jack also set the standard. He did about everything we did and just at the high level. So
I love it. I love it. Carson, what's your biggest thing as far as, when the season's going on, you're watching your sister play? Is it what's the most exciting thing for you when you're when you're watching her play? What kind of really gets you kind of going watching her?
What I like most about watching my sister play is like how she makes others around her better. They're 17-6 right now, and there'll be games where I'll walk away super surprised with how they played, and I think a big part is how Addison carries herself and like carries others on her team.
Right. That's awesome. You always hear about the ones that are special, that kind of take it that next level, and it seems like those, I don't care what sport it is, always make the people around them better. Well, Carson, listen, thank you for coming on. We're going to bring Coach Dorr on for a few minutes. I know you got to get ready for practice and everything, but thank you for coming on. We brought you some Love You Bro podcast gear, so thanks, okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Welcome back to Love You Bro podcast. On the set with Addison Bjorn and myself today, we're going to bring on Coach Dorr from Park Hill South High School. Coach, thank you for coming on and for welcoming us into Park Hill South High School today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Coach, tell us a little bit about your first time when you kind of started seeing Addison before she came to high school. When did you, I know everybody in the country was looking at her and recruiting stuff. When did you get your first glimpse of Addison?
I've told the story a few times. She's probably sick of hearing it already. But she was actually going into the 5th grade. We had a basketball camp. We do youth basketball camp here. I mean, like pretty much every school does.
Right.
We had, honestly, it was probably one of my first or second years here, so our camp really wasn't very big yet. I think we only had like 12 to 15 girls. But Addison was one of them there. We had a few other girls that were, like I said, and she stood out. I mean, like her and a couple other girls were just constantly asking, can we scrimmage? Can we scrimmage? Can we scrimmage? I was like, we'll get there eventually, I promise.
Right.
We did. And I mean, but every drill we did, or every and when we did scrimmage, I mean, like, and this was a camp that was probably 3rd through 6th graders, so I mean there were some older girls in there too. Right. But it was just very obvious, just from an athleticism standpoint, from a basketball standpoint, even a basketball IQ standpoint, that she had a lot of experience and that she had a good chance to be really good.
So Addison, when you would come to camps like that and you'd come here and you'd be, it was a girls' camp, whatever. Did you let anybody know? Did you say, hey, I'd like to play in the boys' camp because I think I can hold my own?
No, I never actually said that. I feel like I was just so excited because I knew a lot of the upperclassmen because of my older brother. So his friends were running the camp, obviously, because they were in high school. So I was really excited to be on the girls' side, and obviously, like going to the camp for my future high school, I kind of wanted to be on the girls' side. So, yes. Of
course. Coach, talk a little bit about your season this year. I know you guys are 17-6 right now. You've got a few games left, and then you'll hit districts and stuff. What's the most that you've been happiest about this year with the season that you guys have accomplished this year?
I think there's been a lot of things. We graduated 8 seniors from last year's team. Okay. We had an undefeated regular season last year. Unfortunately, just lost a close game to Staley High School in the district championship game. But so coming into this year, we knew there was going to be a lot of new people. Obviously, we had Addison returning and another starter named Paige Farber that was returning. But it was kind of those things where we were going to mix a lot of people into new roles, and some of them maybe it was just a new role, but some of them was brand new to varsity. And so that was really kind of probably the thing that her and I talked a lot about, even at the end of last season, about hey, there might be more adversity this year, but we're going to grow from that. And then I think she even kind of expressed that I mean, like sometimes you need that adversity to grow as a team, and I think that's been an awesome thing. And then just to watch again when it comes to her, I mean, and all the girls just growing as the season goes along. I think we've definitely gotten better as the season's gone along, and I think that's been really cool to watch.
Right. So Addison, coming off a team that went undefeated last year, before you guys had lost to Staley, and then you come into a season this year where you've got some of the underclassmen that are starting to come up and stuff. What were some of the challenges that you kind of faced coming into this year? Or did you just is it kind of one of those things where you kind of say, hey, I've been doing this since my freshman year, kind of get on my back type of thing? Or your brother said you do a really good job of making the team and the people around you better.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a new challenge, just obviously with the young talent. I mean, we're starting 2 freshmen, and even for me coming in as a freshman, I was worried playing on varsity with the talent that I had. So I can't really even imagine how they are. So just trying to make sure that they feel comfortable to make mistakes and grow, because your freshman year, that's all really what it's about. But I mean, I feel like we have had a very successful season. We've grown a lot on and off the court, and I feel like that really shows our success on the court. We're there for each other, and we've had a lot of fun, so I feel like it's been a pretty good season.
I love it. So, I mean, from both your standpoints, what are we looking for the last 3 games? What are we looking for in districts? Have we kind of set goals? Where are you guys standing right now?
I think that the one thing we talked about was just, again, I've always told them, I said, I always look at it as, you always go winning record, then conference championship, or at least competing for it, and then you worry about districts when you get to that point. And so, again, I mean, we were able to get the winning record taken care of a few games ago, I guarantee that. But then the next thing was conference. And we really talked a lot about just, hey, that's still something we can hang one thing I mentioned to her even when she was younger, before she got here, and she'd come into camps, and I'd meet with some of the different girls. So the other gym had conference championship banners hanging in it, and so that was the big thing I was impressed on the girls, was that, hey, our goal is to hang a number on the banner each year. We want to try to hang one, and so we were able, and that was kind of the goal for this year, is a conference championship. And so I think we've done a good job at this point. I think we're last night with our win, we were able to kind of guarantee at least a tie for it. So now we're going for the outright in the next 3 games. So that's kind of the goal now.
How about you, Addison? What are we looking forward to down the stretch here? Last few games, and we'll talk a little bit more in our next segments. What it means to you, graduate in the whole 9 yards. But what are you looking for right now as a leader on this team, coming down the stretch these last few games, and then looking towards districts?
Yeah, just to continue to focus on each game. I feel like Coach hit it pretty well we celebrate our little milestones, and with having the opportunity to at least tie for conference or whatever it may be, that's a pretty big accomplishment for this group that we have. So just continuing to put in the work at practice and stuff will help us, but obviously these next 3 games are hard. They're conference games, and our conference isn't that easy. So just focusing game by game and trying to get that win.
So the end goal is state, right? That's kind of.
I mean, that's always the end goal.
Right.
I mean, again, like I said, way we've always taken it is when we get to that point, we'll start worrying about that. So we got a couple weeks before we have to worry about that too much. So
Okay. Well, Coach, listen, thank you so much for coming on. I know you guys are busy. You're going to have to get to some stuff. I want to do one more segment with Addison, and then we'll be out of here. But thank you so much for coming on and for welcoming us to your gym today.
thank you for having me so much.
Absolutely. Welcome back to Love Your Real Podcast, where I just want to thank all of our sponsors. We've been very blessed and fortunate. Proactive Solutions, Lula Southern Cookhouse, and all the other sponsors that we had during 2025. I just want to thank them. We have a new resident sponsor that has joined us for 2026, Maloney Sports Bar and Grill. We want to thank them over there very much. We're going to start doing 1 episode a month over at Maloney Sports Bar and Grill. So we'll be shooting something before St. Patrick's Day. We'll be shooting something during Royal season, during the World Cup. So we're super excited to welcome them as one of our resident sponsors. Over there at Maloney's at 79th, right off of 79th and Metcalf. They've got TVs everywhere. Make sure you always have a good time when the game is on. Daily food and drink specials. Some specials to highlight: we get the 25% off on apps Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 for dine-in only. On Wednesday, they've got trivia from 7 to 9. Any drink specials available throughout the week is available on Wednesday. Outdoor seating. You guys, they've got over 70 outdoor tables for those unexpected warm days this time of year. The rooftop deck. We did an episode there on the rooftop deck for the Kansas-Missouri game, and it was one of the best episodes we had. The crowd was great. We will be promoting back and forth between what we're doing over at Maloney's. So look on Maloney's page to look at some of their stuff when they're doing on our sponsorship. They'll be doing the promoting as far as when we're going to be there shooting live. So we would love people to come on, join the set. We'll be handing out T-shirts. We're looking at March Madness, starting with the Big 12 tournament beginning 3/10. Championship games Saturday on 3/14. Selection Sunday 3/15. Please come out to Maloney's. Great bartenders, great staff. The food's great there, you guys. We're super excited about having them as a resident sponsor. Please follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on our YouTube. please go on there and subscribe. When you guys are doing that, check all of our links for our sponsors, because we'll be hosting our Maloney's link on there, so people will be able to go and check out specials, see when we're doing our show, and we will be promoting on there when we're doing our live podcast. So starting in March, we'll have a couple shows at Maloney's, and then from there about once a month. So thank you to everybody over at Maloney's for being a sponsor of Love You Bro Podcast. Welcome back to Love You Bro Podcast, where today we are shooting from Park Hill South High School. We are here with first team All-American, McDonald's All-American, Addison Bjorn. Addison, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know you guys are busy and you stretch run right now, but thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Addison, let's talk a little bit. You know, we had your brother on, we had Carson on, talk a little bit of family stuff, a little bit when you were growing up. We talked about when you had made the crossover, and as far as going from playing with the girls and stuff and starting playing with the boys, coming to Coach Doerr's camp here at Park Hill South. Tell us a little bit about, you know, I was really interested as I watched some of the stuff and learned some more stuff about your game and as you started really taking off. What is it, how much faster is the game when you're going and you're doing the USA stuff, when you're playing on some of those teams, start traveling around the country compared to your high school stuff where your club sports here? How much different is that?
It's a lot different. Obviously, just my role is different in each team, so taking on that is always different. But I would just say, like, for instance, the pace at USA or even my club team is just a lot faster than what you see in the high school game, I feel like, especially over here. I feel like a lot of prep schools, you may see it,
Right.
but the pace, the talent levels are different, and just the competition. But they're all so different, and I honestly love playing in each level. It kind of makes you like see where you're successful and where maybe you need to grow your game. And like high school is a perfect example of where I can work on some things that I need to grow and get better at, and then take it on to the next level.
When was the first time that you went and played for one of the USA teams? Like
U16, so I believe I was a freshman or sophomore. I don't know. I was pretty young, but that was honestly probably one of the harder experiences, just because you're so young and you're leaving your family for like 30 days to go to training camp and then go to Mexico. And I didn't get to see my twin brother and my older brother for like a month, so that was pretty hard on a young person. So.
Of course, yeah. Being on that 16U team, that's a young age to start, having to go and travel and do some of that stuff. You know, we've been fortunate and blessed enough to have on some of the guys from Sporting KC, and we had Jake Davis on, and Jake Davis talked about when he came over to the sporting program, he was 15 when he left Minnesota.
That's crazy.
And he came here at 15 to literally start playing in professional camps, and it's like, gosh, 15, 16, like you said, you've got your older siblings, you're super close, with Carson, you're super close with your older brother who plays football at Iowa State, correct?
Yes.
So, being close with them, being close to your parents, that's got to be tough going away and then going to play in such a competitive environment. That's got to be just a big jump.
Yeah, no, I actually remember talking to one of my assistant coaches, and a quote that she will always remember from something that I told her is, I was like, this is like the most stressful thing I've ever done, and I can't even drive a car yet. So I feel like that really honestly explains the whole process there. It's just so much stress on a young person, like just trying to make a team and just showcase their talent. But then they also are dealing with a lot of different things, like leaving your family and maybe your dogs. I remember I missed my dogs. It's the little things you don't really think about, and your best friends. And I remember when I got home, my friends and everyone actually were at my house and surprised me. So it was really nice to come home.
That's awesome. How many years? So since sophomore year, you've been to what? Three? Is it just 3 times you've been to the USA stuff?
Yes, U16, U17, and then U19.
Okay. And then, so we talked a little bit offset. So when the season's over, and that was something new that I really didn't know, because we talked about all the other club sports of how, girls in the volleyball and stuff, they're playing, into summer, that I've even signed somewhere. But you're saying that once your season ends here, you'll start doing you'll head off to the McDonald stuff.
Correct. So actually my last summer was my last time playing AU basketball, which was kind of unfortunate because the last 3 years I really never got to play a full season because the USA experience is always in June or July. So I missed out on basically a full season of summer basketball. So I never really got to experience like UIBL, Nike Nationals, which is a bummer, but also it was a blessing to be where I was at. Of course. But yes, it's very different that basketball does not go into the summer, like I leave for college because I have a lot of volleyball friends and softball friends that actually are playing club right now,
Okay.
and they're signed and committed. So
Right.
it's different.
So tell me, when did you get your first letter? When did you get your first letter? Because I know you always remember when you're playing in high school, you get that first letter. What was your first D1 letter that you looked and you thought, wow?
My first offer was in 7th grade summer. It was Louisville, and it was a pretty crazy experience just in general because I went to the elite camp not even thinking of an offer.
Right.
I was a young girl, a little skinny girl, and I just remember looking at all these older girls, and they were a lot more developed than I was. I was a little bit later in the development process, and I walked away thinking that I facilitated really well, didn't really score that much, but
Right.
kind of showed I can pass it pretty good,
Of
and
course.
walked away with an offer. And I just remember walking back to the car with my dad, and when you're in 7th grade, you don't even really understand what that means. So
No,
I was in shock, and honestly, like, we went up to my brother. He was actually in a baseball tournament, and so I went back to him, and I don't even know. It was crazy. Like,
No.
I still don't even really have words for it because I just remember when coach told me, I just got really red-faced and speechless and kind of head dropped. So
You know what's fun is being here. Like I said, the first time I've ever met you is being here now. But just seeing the smile on your face,
Yeah.
and seeing that, I can tell that what that meant to you, and being in 7th grade and being like, I just got an offer from Louisville. I can't imagine.
I mean, I had a lot of questions on really, like,
What does that mean?
right, and I'm like, full scholarship for basketball. But honestly, that was kind of the start of it. I obviously had been talking to other coaches previously, but
Right.
I feel like it just takes one to kind of get you going, and
course.
for a coach to believe in you, and then it kind of the trail goes.
So in the summer when you go, I mean, how do you pick that out? Like 7th grade, how do you pick out the camps you want to go to? Because you can't go to every camp. So is there 2 or 3 camps you go to? Is there 4 camps you go to? Or is it just like, hey, I'm going to pick a couple that I really want to go to? How does that work at that age?
Honestly, being in the Midwest, you're kind of close to a lot of different things. You can drive to areas, so that's kind of what it came down to. But I obviously didn't go to as many elite camps as I probably. I mean, I just didn't have the time and
Right.
stuff. But it also came down to, like, what coach I had the better relationship with. If
course.
a coach believed in me more and really wanted me to go to this elite camp because they saw an opportunity, then I would obviously go. But if it was pretty mild and communication wasn't really there, then I didn't really give much attention to it.
What was during that time, like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, as you're going to those elite camps, what was your favorite camp?
That's a really good question.
Did you ever go up to UConn?
I never went up to a camp.
Okay.
I went up for a unofficial visit,
Okay.
and I saw them play Notre Dame. It was like their alumni weekend, and then I went up for an official visit a few months ago.
Okay, so the strength and conditioning coach up there, Coach Andrea Hoodie. Coach Hoodie's a good friend of the programs. She's actually been on Love You Row podcast after they won the national title last year. Coach Hoodie came on our show, so we're huge fans of Coach Hoodie and what they do at UConn.
Yeah, no, she does a great job. We have some ties to her as well, so
I love it.
We know her, and she's doing a great job up there.
Absolutely,
she's very smart.
Shout out to Coach Hoodie and what she does. So let's talk a little bit about coming into senior year. Like I said, we've seen, I've read all the accolades, all the stuff, all the USA stuff, the McDonald stuff. When did you receive your invitation, as they put it, to the McDonald's All-American game?
So it was actually broadcasted on the ESPN app, and it was around 3 o'clock. So that's whenever I'm in my ceramics class.
Okay.
So my brother and I actually stepped out of class and watched it, and I feel like that really shows our relationship. We're very supportive of one another,
Right.
but also our hardest critic. So
Of course.
I feel like that was a really good moment between us, and we watched it on my phone, and yeah, went back to class after that.
No, that's really cool. Just walking in the gym and seeing Carson walk in here and you guys just kind of, just exchange, talk a little bit. You can see the closeness that you two have. I can see that he's a huge supporter of you. I'm excited to meet your parents. I told your dad that I was going to come out. I want to come out to one of the games coming up here pretty quick. I want to come out and check out one of your games or the district game. So I'm anxious to meet your parents. It seems like they've done a really, really good job raising some really, really good kids that are very competitive, very close. So,
Yes.
so let's talk a little bit about, the McDonald's. So when your season ends here in high school, what's it going to mean to you that you put your 4 years in, you played 4 years of varsity here at Park Hill South? What type of moment is that going to be from you when you walk off the floor here for the last time?
It's going to be pretty crazy. I've put a lot of time and effort into the gym here and just the high school in general. And I feel like I've kind of left my mark. So it'll be a pretty emotional time, I feel like, just because I've known Coach Dora as well for so long. And he's been my coach for a while, and he's seen my ups and downs. So it'll be pretty emotional. But honestly, I feel like at the end, like, I've left my mark in a really good way. And I'm more than just a basketball player around here, and I feel like the community knows that.
That's fantastic. I love that. So senior night, is that against Park Hill? Will that be your last?
No, so our senior night was against Smithville
Okay.
maybe a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, but our last home game is this coming Friday.
Okay, and that's Park Hill, correct?
Yes.
And what do you expect? What do you expect with that game? I'm sure there's a lot of the rivalry and stuff. Enough said with that, as far as but how do you feel about this Friday?
It's always a dogfight. It doesn't really matter who's the better team. At the end of the day, it's just who wants it more. And I feel like everyone can really agree with that, especially no matter what sport it is. Whenever you're playing a rivalry, it doesn't really matter who's the better team. But it should be a pretty fun game. We're going to have a packed house, and especially it being a doubleheader, it'll be a really fun game, and the crowd should help us out. I feel like home court advantage is a little bit better.
Of course. I love that. I love that for you guys. So let's talk a little bit. I want to talk some more about, the McDonald's game and stuff that's coming up. So when the season's over, where do you head off to from here?
I'll have a few weeks off, depending on how far we make
Right.
it in the season, and then I'll head off to McDonald's All-American, and then 2 weeks later-ish, I'll head over to the Nike Hoop Summit, which is the USA versus the world, which is a very big accomplishment for me as well. I've worked up for that. And then I think there's maybe a few more camps, not exactly sure, but by then it's June, basically.
Yeah, that is awesome. Congratulations on all your success with that. Let's talk a little bit about your recruiting. As far as when did you kind of start narrowing things down? Was it in your junior year? Was it beginning of your senior? When did you start narrowing down and knowing these 4 or 5 schools is what I'm going to kind of narrow it down to?
Honestly, I kept it pretty open. I felt like as time went on, people sometimes drifted away, sometimes people got closer, and I loved building relationships in the recruiting process because at the end of the day, that's what was really important to me. And I feel like I narrowed it down to about 5 or 7 literally less than a year ago.
Right.
So it went all the way down to the last minute, and I really wouldn't have done it any other way. I took 7 official visits, which is a lot, people would say, but I wouldn't know how a place feels if I didn't go.
Of course.
And I think that going on these visits really solidified my thoughts, or didn't, or shocked me. And I wouldn't know that if I didn't go. So.
Okay, so there's something else that I'm interested in because I let you know kind of off air that I've been working in athlete logistics since 2003. So the scope of dynamics and everything with athletes and everything that's gone on has taken on a whole new persona with transfer portals, with NIL and everything. So where you're at right now, getting ready to go, you signed with the University of Texas. Do you have to go and hire an NIL agent? How does that work when you go into a D1 school or program like Texas?
So at Texas, they actually have somebody that helps us out a lot, which I think is really nice. But I personally have somebody that helps represent me. It's called Integrity 9. They're actually local to here, and I really like that because I can personally build a relationship with them. And this agency actually has a few Olympic athletes and track. A lot of different sports and not a lot of basketball players, but they have the resources. And I think that's really cool because they value me more than maybe another agency might value 80 athletes.
Of course.
So I think it was really important to me, and they've done a great job. They have helped me out. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I just know, and being around this business, it's so important to have those relationships. I've seen everything across the board you can imagine, working with NFL and NBA players, and it just seems like a lot more kids are starting to, have those companies. They're starting to go with some smaller companies that they build more of a relationship than going into the big agency that's got 100, 120 athletes, because I feel sometimes people get lost in the shuffle there.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I had talked to my agency about, and I have not been lost, and I talk to them weekly. They keep me updated with their progress they're making, who they're talking to, whatever it may be, and I just feel like we have personally built relationships, and I feel like that's kind of unheard of in some places.
Of course. So they'll be able to kind of guide you. Once you go to UT and NIL stuff starts coming in, they're able to monitor and manage that for you?
Yeah, and then like I also said, they have somebody at Texas, and she helps with the whole team. So I feel like that's honestly around every college program. I feel like there's somebody that kind of helps with the NIL part of it, because it's now such a big thing in college.
Of course, it's huge. What kind of did it for you? What was the thing that you were like when you had down those 5 or 7 schools and you kind of started narrowing it down? What was it for you that put you over that said, you know what, I want to be at the University of Texas?
The people. I felt really valued, and the girls made me feel just a different type of way that I had not felt on my previous visits. I really clicked with them. My best friend actually plays on the team, Aaliyah Crump.
Okay.
And I played club with her, and then I also won a gold medal with her. So we have that special relationship. But honestly, something that was really important to me was I had a lot of relationships with not just one coach, but all of the coaches. So obviously, you need a really good and healthy relationship with the head coach, but then it also went down to the assistants, and I felt like I had a really strong connection with each and every one of them, and that was really important to me, because at the end of the day, you're going to have really tough days, and it's how you can lean on your teammates and your assistant coaches.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Where's Karsten going to school?
It's a great question. He's probably going to go the baseball route. He's talked to a few D2s for basketball and baseball.
Okay.
Redo that? Or?
No, we're good. We're good.
And he's talked to a few junior colleges for baseball. So honestly, I'd hope that he'd end up pretty close to me.
Right.
But I know whatever he chooses to do will be great for him. So.
Well, listen, I know you've got to get ready and start getting ready for practice. I can't thank you enough for taking time out to be a part of Love You Bro podcast. We had you sign the banner. We brought you some Love You Bro merchandise. We got you actually the burnt orange sweatshirt for the University of Texas. And now you're part of the family. Don't be surprised to see me popping up here sometime in the next couple of weeks catching a game. And don't be surprised to see me down in Austin catching one of your games, because I have clients down there. You're part of our family now. Thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck with everything, the McDonald's, the rest of your season here, heading out to McDonald's and at the University of Texas. We'll continue to watch you. And listen, when you're at Texas, we may reach back out and bring you back on a podcast once you've got a season on your belt down there, okay?
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Addison, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay.